So my name is Judy. I work for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or the FBI. And I've seen some of you here before when I did the presentation on the true cost of crime and what can happen to you if you have a criminal record, how it impacts your life. So tonight I'm giving a talk on online safety and cyberbullying. So how many of you have previously had a presentation on internet safety? Raise your hand. At school? Have you had it at church, at home? Anybody talk to you about this kind of stuff? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, I saw you at another. Okay. So why do you think I'm here to talk to you about internet safety? Okay. There is bullying on the internet. What kind of stuff do you guys see on the internet? Okay, let's go back and go to basics. Who here has a cell phone? Who here has 2 cell phones? Who here has 3 cell phones? 4? Anybody have more than 4 cell phones? Okay, that's interesting to me. Now, what about a laptop? Tablet? Gaming device? Anything else that you can get on the internet with? Okay, so the internet nowadays is very much in our lives. It's in there all the time. It invades everything, whether we want it to or not. You get social media. They now have influencers. When I was a kid, those things, number one, the internet wasn't around, but also just people didn't follow other people just because they were popular on the internet. So right now, internet safety is very huge, and there is actually a group called the Cybersecurity Information Agency, and basically they deal with internet crime, with hacking, with malware, that kind of stuff. But it's important because everything happens on the internet, right? All right, so when you're on the internet, do you ever see inappropriate content? And what do I mean by inappropriate content? Do you see anybody saying stuff against a particular religion or a different group of people because of their ethnicity, their race, their gang? Do you guys see sexual content on the internet? Okay. What about threats? Does anybody call in, do school threats or school shooting threats, bomb threats, anything like that? What about profanity? Who uses completely clean language every day? Not me. You never swear. Very good. Okay. And then what about people drinking, doing drugs, flashing gang signs, showing weapons? All of these things are on the internet, and we can't do anything about it. So if you think about this, we see all these things. Do you guys post any of this? I could ask what some of you are in here for, but I'm not going to. So there comes a time when putting certain things on the internet becomes a crime. And there comes a time when people who do bad things try and influence other people to do bad things on the internet, using the internet. So if you do things on the internet, we talked, last time I was here, for those of you who were here, we talk about how a criminal record can impact your life. It's the same thing with what you do on the internet. What you do on the internet can impact your life. How many of you, when you graduate high school, want to go to college? Anybody? How many of you want to go to trade school? Like mechanic school, truck driver school, anything like that? Plumber? Okay. Almost any employer and most schools these days will check your social media. Did you know that? Things you do nowadays can come back and bite you in the butt real quick. It can also get you in trouble at school. We talked about bullying. Can you get in trouble at school for cyberbullying if you don't do it on school property? Yes, you can. Okay. All right. And damaging your future opportunities. So I work for the FBI. They know my social media accounts because they need to make sure that during elections I'm not posting anything political, that I'm not posting anything about my work, that I'm not doing any hate speech, any types of things. So if you think the FBI checks, all employers these days check your social media, your internet presence, all that kind of stuff, because most people do have it. So when you think about something before you post it, you have to think about what's it going to do. So if you don't like when people post things about you that are wrong or bad on the internet, what do you think about what you post before you put it online? Yeah or no? Okay. Could it get you in trouble? Could it impact your future? Who could it hurt? What would the adults in your life think about it? How many of you have a grandma? Have a grandpa? Do they use social media? Some of them do. What happens if something about you gets on the internet, like say one of those naked pictures? Would you want that being sent to your grandma? You got to think about who's going to get it, because once it's on the internet, there's not an easy way to get it back. Okay? What's TMI? Too much information. So there is too much information that you put on the internet. Everybody does it. You don't mean to sometimes. But the types of things that you don't want to get out there, get out there. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys did this when you were in grade school or anything, but did you ever play that game where everybody lines up and they whisper something to the first person and then it keeps passing down, and by the end, it's completely different from what was said? That's kind of the way the internet works. Everybody puts a different spin on things when they repost it. Everybody puts their own impression on it. And so things can get blown out of proportion or just blown up really, really quickly. And it can get to people you don't want it to, and it can get somewhere unexpected, like your employer. So for example, personal information. Did anybody get the COVID vaccine when it first came out? So there were people all over the internet that would get the first COVID vaccine, and they were taking pictures of themselves with their COVID vaccine shot. That had your full name, your date of birth, and a whole bunch of other information. Why should you not post stuff like that on the internet? I'm going to call on somebody. Let's see. Why should you not post your information on the internet? Because I'm going to go around the room and pick people if nobody raises hands. Why would you not want your name and date of birth out there? Your full name, full date of birth. Say again? Okay. So stealing your identity. What about social security numbers? You guys don't use them a whole lot yet probably, but they are. Okay. Think about this, the geolocation on your phone. Let's say you're playing a game online with somebody and you have your geolocation on your phone, and it's somebody who may want to hurt you. They can find you, right? Or sharing information like where your mom and dad work, or where you work, or where you live, what school you go to, telling people passwords, your user accounts on different things. You would not believe how many Cash App names I see daily, just because people put stuff out there. So anything you disclose about your life can be something used against you. Why? You guys haven't probably done this yet, but when you get older and you get a credit card, you set up what they call security questions in case something happens, or any type of accounts. What's your security question to recover your information? And typically it's something like the street you lived on when you grew up, your mother's maiden name, your grandma's last name, whatever it is. But all of this stuff is something that people can get hold of to use to compromise your identity. what about, have you guys ever been like on a gaming device or a platform or a game, and somebody that you start talking to on there that you don't know, and they may ask you to move to a separate platform to talk? Yeah? That's happened to you? Okay, what platform did they ask you to move to? I can't hear him. Okay, but what application did they want you to move to? Did they want you to go to like Hangouts? What? I'm going to show my age because I don't do gaming, but anyway, anytime they want you to get separated from everybody else in your group, it's usually not a good thing, especially if you don't know the person. What about if they want to share information with you that you may not want? True story. We get cases all the time at the FBI where, okay, I'm talking, you're not, right? Okay. So we get cases all the time at the FBI where kids are lured into going from one thing, like it may be gaming on PlayerUnknown's Battleground or something like that. They get talked into going to another application, for example, Zepeto, which is an app you guys may or may not use. But anyway, they want to move you to some place where they can do private messages or where they can share pictures and videos. And these are the people who want to groom children to share information and share content. Okay, so how do you protect yourself? How many of you use the same password or a version of the same password for most of your apps? I can almost bet that somebody in this room has either a dog or a cat whose name is used in one of their passwords. This happens all the time. It's something that's easy for you to remember, right? So you want to make it easy for you to remember, but the problem is once it's compromised on one application, it's easy to see what else you have and to use that same password. Okay, so like I said, turn off your application. Choose who you friend. Do you guys ever get approached on games or anything or social media by somebody you have no clue who they are? What do? You add them? Oh, okay, you not add them, okay. You can block them, okay. A lot of times it'll be people saying, oh, you know, what school do you go to? Oh, I go there, or I know somebody who goes there, or I'm friends with so-and-so, you know them. They try to get linked into you some way so that you'll trust them and you'll be willing to give them more information, okay. How many of you guys look at, do you know what a URL line is? When you're on the internet? It's the address. So it typically starts with HTTP or HTTPS, and that's before the www whatever. That's where you can look and see if it's a secure site. If it doesn't have the S after the HTTP or a little lock symbol, it's not secure. So it's definitely not someplace you want to share information. What about sharing somebody else's information? Is that good to do? Nope. Okay.